Welcome to the Explainer. Have you ever looked at a colleague, maybe a leader you work with, or even a competitor, and just thought, okay, they've absolutely got to have some kind of superpower? I mean, while everyone else is scrambling, panicking, just reacting to a sudden crisis, they are completely calm. Why? Because they literally saw it coming weeks ago. They're always one step ahead. In this explainer, we're going to decode that exact superpower. And spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's actually a highly specific cognitive edge known as predictive intelligence. Today, we're going to unpack the architecture of how it actually works. Think about your own daily routine for just a second. The average adult makes something like 35,000 decisions every single day. Let that sink in. Now, how many of those are spent just putting out fires, constantly reacting to the latest email, a sudden shift in the market, or the daily crisis du jour? It's exhausting, right? Well, what if I told you that being one step ahead isn't just a lucky guess? It's really not. It's a structured process. People who anticipate well don't just have better luck, they actually process the world fundamentally differently than the rest of us. And that brings us to our foundational definition here. Anticipation is the ability to understand a movement early enough to act before it becomes visible to everyone else. Today, we are cracking open the black box of the mind. We're going to reveal how both human psychology and advanced AI systems use deep pattern recognition to essentially predict the future. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly how to stop reacting to life and start anticipating it. Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, Context Building, the core of anticipation. You see, anticipation isn't some mystical ability. It's a mechanical process. To get ahead of the curve, we first have to understand how the brain prepares itself before it ever makes a single decision. Highly intelligent minds begin by building what psychologists call a world picture. They do this by constantly asking three vital questions: what is changing, what's connected, and what could happen next? When you build a world picture in advance, you ensure your eventual response is informed by the entire environment. You completely avoid that super dangerous trap of reacting blindly to a single isolated event right in front of you. Basically, you aren't just looking at the tree. You've already mapped out the entire forest. Which leads us to Section 2, Pattern Recognition and Connecting Signals. To really build this world picture, we have to look closely at how the brain actively connects seemingly separate pieces of information. Let's move to and see how this builds. Because it creates a stark contrast between two very different types of thinking. On one side, we've got the traditional and reactive mind. Most people, and honestly most traditional machines, simply react to incoming data. Information comes in, a response comes out. It's a straight line. But on the other side, we have anticipatory minds and advanced adaptive AI, like the AI known as autonomy. These systems evaluate the whole situation. They don't just sit around waiting for the data. They actively seek out the relationships between the data points before they ever make a move. And this brilliantly illustrates how that connection process actually happens. The human mind bridges the gap between raw knowledge and real experience by linking these seemingly unrelated signals into one clear pattern. Step 1, timing connects to behavior. Step 2, behavior connects to risk. And step 3, risk connects to consequence. By treating these not as totally separate tasks, but as one clear internal pattern, high-level thinking allows you to start predicting outcomes with startling accuracy. You're basically reading the chain reaction before the first domino has even fully fallen over. Moving right along into Section 3, Mental Simulations and Analytical Processing. Why does an anticipatory mind seem like it rarely rests? Because it's constantly running analytical processing in the background, asking, what if this happens? Psychologists actually call this future-oriented cognition. It's defined as the ability to mentally simulate outcomes before acting. While everyone else is entirely focused on just navigating the immediate present, the anticipatory mind is examining every angle, every detail, and every possibility of tomorrow. And when you train your brain to think in terms of these long-term consequences, a massive shift occurs. You literally train yourself to stop making emotional knee-jerk choices, and you start making highly intelligent, calculated ones instead. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. You would naturally think that looking at all these angles and variables would be totally overwhelming, right? But the counterintuitive truth is that complexity actually sharpens the anticipatory mind. Why? Because when a system is built on connected patterns, new variables don't confuse it. They just add resolution to the picture. For experienced people, pressure improves clarity instead of overloading them. They evaluate the underlying significance of a situation rather than just staring blindly at raw numbers and facts. They interpret the meaning behind the signals.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is a fascinating trait within this process called selective organization. This is the ability to recognize what matters and, crucially, to ignore what does not. It's an interpretive layer. Anticipation requires you to instantly decide what's a relevant, dangerous pattern and what is literally just irrelevant noise. Both highly intelligent humans and advanced adaptive AI use this exact filtering mechanism. It's why their behavior feels guided by deep experience, rather than just mechanically reacting to every single stimulus that crosses their path.
And that brings us to our final section, the power of past errors, or error-based learning. Because there's a crucial feedback loop here. You absolutely cannot anticipate the future without an intimate understanding of your mistakes from the past. It's known as error-based learning. Think about it. When you make a mistake, do you panic, maybe deflect blame, or just try to forget about it? Or do you calmly review it? Both the human brain and advanced adaptive AI actually get faster and smarter after errors, but only if they calmly activate this error-based learning process. By dissecting where the predictive model failed, you teach your mind to catch those subtle warning signs so much quicker the next time around. So, the crucial point is perfectly captured right here. Anyone can respond once. Real intelligence shows in the second response. Just think about the weight of that for a second. The first time something happens, you're just reacting. But how did that first result fundamentally change your future behavior? The true measure of your predictive intelligence is whether or not that mistake upgraded your world picture for the second encounter.
Anticipation really is the ultimate human advantage. It's the ability to actually improve from what you go through. So, the question I want to leave you with today is this. Will you remain a passive tool waiting for commands, just constantly reacting to the fires all around you? Or will you actively use your past errors, build your world picture, and anticipate the reality of your day tomorrow? If you want to keep understanding the hidden psychology behind your intelligence and how to optimize your mind, make sure you follow the explainer. We don't just watch the world, we decode the minds that are shaping it. Catch you in the next explainer.